Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Trinadapi Sunichena Taradiva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I selected a verse from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing his disciple Sanatana Goswami in the science of Krishna consciousness or devotional service. And in so instructing Sanatana, Lord Chaitanya quotes a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's begin. Everybody raise your hand and repeat after me. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we have now invoked auspiciousness by chanting this powerful 12-syllable mantra. So here is the verse that Lord Chaitanya quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhayang advitiya biniveshat syad ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti tanmaya yatto buddha abhajitang bhatyai keteshang gurudeva tatma. I would like you to please repeat after me, if I can get the screen to go down. There we go. So please repeat after me. When the living entity is attracted by the material energy, which is separate from Krishna, one is overpowered by fear. Because one is separated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the material energy, one's conception of life is reversed. In other words, instead of being Krishna's eternal servant, one becomes Krishna's competitor. And this is called Viparyayo Smriti. To nullify this mistake, one who is actually learned and advanced worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one's spiritual master, worshipful deity, and source of life. One thus worships the Lord by the process of unalloyed devotional service. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties always ensue. Okay. So there's a very short purport given by Srila Prabhupada. So it is my duty to read Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada is our founder Acharya. That phrase, founder Acharya, has significance because it is Srila Prabhupada who started this movement. He came here in 1965, landing in Boston and then winding up in New York to begin this Krishna consciousness movement. So he's the founder. And the word Acharya, one who teaches by example. So in this movement, Srila Prabhupada's movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada is the Acharya, which means we follow his presentation, his particular philosophical presentation. There are various Vaishnava Sampradayas headed by Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, and they have presented the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in their particular understanding. So Srila Prabhupada, as the founder Acharya of ISKCON, has presented Krishna consciousness in a very unique fashion. So as his disciple, it is my duty to present the philosophy as he has presented it. I cannot introduce my own philosophy. Just in the same way, this seat I'm sitting on, Vyasasan, by agreeing to sit on this seat, I have to present the philosophy of Srila Vyasadeva, because the Vedic culture is presented through the writings of Srila Vyasadeva. So it is a responsibility. When someone sits on this seat, it is a serious responsibility. Just like a judge. If someone is a judge, as soon as they put on those robes and sit in the judge's chair, then it is a very serious responsibility. Someone's life or death is in their hands. So this philosophy of Krishna consciousness is very sublime. And it is very deep. So as a representative of Vyasadeva, and in particular my spiritual master, I have to represent their viewpoint. So I must read this purport by Srila Prabhupada. If you're ready to proceed, please signify that by saying, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 2, verse 37. Is an instruction given by Kavi Rishi, one of the 9 saintly personalities called the 9 Yogendras. When Vasudeva, Krishna's father, asked Devarshi Narada in Dwaraka about devotional service, it was mentioned that previously King Nimi, who was the king of Videha, was instructed by these 9 Yogendras. When Sri Narada Muni discoursed on the Bhagavat Dharma, or devotional service, Narada Muni indicated how a conditioned soul can be liberated by engaging in the loving transcendental service of the Lord. The Lord is the supersoul, spiritual master, and worshipful deity of all conditioned souls. Not only is Krishna the supreme worshipful deity for all living entities, but Krishna is also the Guru, or Chaitya Guru, the supersoul, who always gives the living entity good counsel. Unfortunately, the living entity neglects the Supreme Person's instructions. One thus identifies with the material energy and is consequently overpowered by a kind of fear resulting from accepting oneself as the material body and considering paraphernalia related to the material body to be one's property. All types of fruitive results actually come from the spirit soul, but because one has forgotten his or her real duty, one is embarrassed by many material consequences, such as fear and attachment. The only remedy is to revert to the service of the Lord and thus be saved from material nature's unwanted harassment. So one of Prabhupada's teachings that I discovered a year or two ago, which I have found to be very, very useful in my preaching activities, is to look at the word-for-word synonyms as found in this verse. There was one letter that Prabhupada wrote to one of his disciples, and he was saying that just by going through the word-for-word synonyms, there is so much you can get inspiration to speak. I began my class by chanting my favorite other mantra other than Hare Krishna. Chanadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina amanadena kirtaniya sadahari, which I find to be the key to the kingdom of God. I have been living so long, 66 years, and if I've learned anything, that is the most significant thing I have learned. And I have to thank my wife in particular, as she has taught me this verse day after day after day. Thank you. Yeah. So the first word, bhayam, everybody say, fear. So this fear is part and parcel of material existence. And the next two words gives you the root cause why there's fear. Dvitiya abhiniveshata, from the misconception of being a product of material energy. That is the root cause of fear. Last night, I was doing a program and speaking, and we were discussing the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And somehow or other, I mentioned this concept, that fear only arises because I identify with this material body. Just in the same way, Arjuna, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, same situation. Why was he hesitant? Why was he fearful? Why was Arjuna confused about his duty? And Krishna began his teachings in the same way. You are not a product of the material energy. You are not your body. This is the first lesson of transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is distinct from that kind of knowledge you will learn in high school, university, college, postgraduate. No. This you learn when you come to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the beginning of transcendental knowledge, and transcendental knowledge, the first lesson, you're not your body. You're not who you see in the mirror. That's not you. Just as you're not the car you drive. You're not the clothes you wear. That is ludicrous. If anyone thinks I am a Mercedes-Benz, cuckoo, cuckoo, you belong in the White House. If someone thinks that I am the clothes I wear, that's also lunacy. No. So how will anyone know this? Anyone will know this only by coming from the authority of Krishna, God himself. That's where you learn this. It has to come from higher authority, higher source. Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, spoken by God. You cannot experimentally come to understand that there is God, there is soul. No, it's revealed knowledge. Has to be revealed to you. You're not going to discover the soul in the laboratory. You're not going to discover God by some material process. No. The understanding of soul in God is something that's revealed. And how does he reveal it? Krishna leaves his word, Bhagavad Gita, which is why we study, we're supposed to study Bhagavad Gita every day. Who reads Bhagavad Gita every day? Very good. Why isn't every hand up? Everyone should be reading Bhagavad Gita every day. Prabhupada writes in one place that just like you eat every day, once, twice, or some people that are on that diet 6 times a day, they eat these little meals 6 times. There's different kinds of diets, right? So you're eating in order to energize the body. You need sustenance. So Prabhupada writes elsewhere, your soul, or you, the soul, also needs sustenance. Where are you going to nourish the soul? You nourish the soul by hearing and chanting this transcendental sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We hear the mantra, we're nourishing the soul. We read Bhagavad Gita, we're nourishing the soul. What does Bhagavad Gita do for you? It gives you faith. By reading Bhagavad Gita, you develop faith in Krishna. That Krishna, you are my Lord and Master, as was mentioned in the purport. And the verses also pointing out, the solution to fear is to accept Krishna as one's Lord and Master, that I am Krishna's eternal servant. To accept Krishna as the worshipful deity, as we do here in the temple, our worshipful deity. Many of you come on Sunday and you come to worship Sri Sri Rukmini Dwarkadish. The devotees that live here in the temple, they're coming every day to worship Rukmini Dwarkadish. And then it also mentioned to accept Krishna as Chaitya Guru, the Guru in the heart, the one who's trying to give you good counsel within your heart. So why am I fearful? I am forgetting Krishna. I am forgetting that I'm Krishna's eternal servant. And I'm thinking in terms of this material body, that I'm a man, that I'm a woman, that I'm American, that I'm Indian, that I'm this and I'm that. Just as, it's as crazy as someone saying, I'm a Toyota RAV4. No. In the Vedas, they have this phrase, Aham Brahmasmi. I am spirit. Aham, that's what I am. So, fear. Why do I become fearful? I identify with this body. So, the solution to get out of this fear is to identify as, no, I am Krishna's eternal servant. I am meant to love and serve Krishna, God. Lord Jesus Christ was asked, what is the greatest commandment? Jesus immediately said, love God. How? With your whole heart, with your whole soul, with your whole mind. What Jesus spoke in that line is the absolute truth. There is no mistake in that statement. Love God. And Bhagavad Gita will teach you who is God. Because Krishna will repeatedly say, I am God. Krishna says that. Mattak parataram na anyat. It's not that Krishna is boasting and bragging. No, that's not the... But somebody has to say, what is the truth? So Krishna says, here's the truth. The truth is, I am God. Deal with it. Mattak parataram, there's no truth superior to me. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, from a different angle of vision, aham sarvasya prabhava. Krishna says, anything you see, where do you think it's coming from? It's coming from me, Krishna is saying. Everything is coming from me, material or spiritual. It's coming from Krishna. Then at the end of Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? You should surrender to me. You should take shelter of me. Because up until the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has been making his case, how he is supreme. In chapter 15, towards the end of chapter 15, what does Krishna say? That you will find two kinds of beings, fallible, infallible. Everybody here in the material realm, fallible, make mistakes. All right, then Krishna says, and in the spiritual world, nobody makes a mistake, infallible. But then Krishna says, so you'll find these two, the material beings who are fallible, the spiritual world beings who are infallible. But then Krishna says, but me, I'm above both of them. Krishna is pointing out in Bhagavad Gita how he is God. If you read the history of Krishna, because this is an important point. Nowadays, many people, they think, oh, this Krishna, this is fable. This is mythology. No. Vyasadeva was such a brilliant writer, such a brilliant mystic, powerful spiritual personality. He's not going to waste his time writing something like Harry Potter. That's not what someone like Vyasadeva is going to do. Vyasadeva is going to write serious literature for the benefit of mankind. Therefore, Vyasadeva compiled the history of this Krishna who we worship here 24/7, 365. There's a history because he recently came. How recently? Because the material creation is coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. So only 5,000 years ago, Krishna was on this planet. He appeared in the country known as India and performed his pastimes, his drama. So in this Srimad Bhagavatam, 90 chapters are there outlining the history of Krishna's birth and activities. In this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam, evam yo veti tatvataha, tyaktva dehang punar janma, naiti mameti, Sorjuna. Very, very, very important verse of Bhagavad Gita. If you have not memorized it, this one. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 9. It'll make you so happy. Because what does Krishna say in this verse? That if you understand the transcendental nature of my birth and my activities, you will not come back to this material world in your next life. You will come to my abode, my home, my neighborhood, my family. I don't know about you, but back in 1973, I made that decision. I was fed up. I said, I'm out of here. I want to go back and be with Krishna. Who else wants to go? Jai. Very good. Yes. Group hug. Because Prabhupada is promising this. This Srila Prabhupada, it's amazing. How many people, it's happened, every year it happens. Somebody comes to the temple for the first time and they say, why isn't he moving? Because they think he's in samadhi. Because Prabhupada is so alive, and as the sign says, this was the first murti of Srila Prabhupada in the world. So again, one of the many accolades of this temple. This temple has many accolades. That's only one of them. Maybe someday I'll do a class on the greatness of New Dwarka historically. Maybe we'll do that. So Prabhupada, not just once, repeatedly said, chant 16 rounds. Follow the 4 regulative principles, and you will go back to Krishna in this lifetime. If you have faith, that gets you so enlivened. And if you actually do it, little by little, it is revealed to you, yes, it's true, it's happening. We just have to stay fixed with Srila Prabhupada. So everyone should be chanting minimum 16 rounds Hare Krishna mantra every day. If you don't have your beads, like I always like to say, I love this, I'll always do it. Say hello to my little friend. Here it is. If you don't have your little friend, you just go outside and they'll arrange for you to have your own little friend. We even have a gift shop, unless you want, maybe you want to get fancy. Okay? We can accommodate all kinds. We have entry-level beads, mid-level beads, high class, whatever, it doesn't matter. But everyone should have beads, and everyone should be chanting every day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we do that. Each mala has 108 beads, signifying the 108 gopis or 108 Upanishads. Don't leave yet. The best part of the class is still coming. You're going to miss the best part of the class. So we chant 108 times, 16 times a day. My wife, how long it takes you to do? Hour and a half. Me, I'm slow. It takes 4 hours. But she's good. Hare Krishna, Krishna. So we do this, chant 16 rounds, and strictly follow the 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. Simple. Just live a pure, you agreed to do that, you're living a pure life. You're pure. Now on top of that, chant Hare Krishna, and now you're on the transcendental platform. Many devotees here have been chanting 30, 40 years. And you see how nice they look, happy, blissful, powerful. So the devotee becomes fearless when the devotee takes shelter of Krishna, because as soon as you take shelter of Krishna, you're off the bodily, material concept of life. As soon as you engage in the activities of Krishna consciousness, it's not a mental state. It's an active state. It's a state of action. You engage your senses in serving the Lord. We are constitutionally made for service. We have two choices, either to serve God or to serve the illusory material energy. The choice is given to everyone. You have free will. So though us here, all of us, at some level, have decided, no, I want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I do not want to serve the illusory energy. I've been cheated for so long. I have been misused and abused. I'm tired. Now I want to serve the Lord of my heart. Now I want to serve the master of the senses with these senses. That is the definition of bhakti. Rishikena, with your senses. Rishikesha sevanam. Serve the master of the senses. The master of the senses is Krishna, God. He is the master of the senses. So we served him by means of these senses that we now have. They may be material senses. They may be defective. That is all right. Still with these material senses, we can render service to the master of the senses. As soon as I'm engaged in serving Krishna, I am off the bodily material concept of life. Immediately. Once I stop, I'm back in it. So the goal is to constantly be engaged in serving Krishna. That's why there are 9 different processes. You're doing the first one, hearing. As long as you're trying to hear, you are off the bodily concept of life. You're in the spiritual platform. You're trying to hear this message of Godhead. When you're chanting, immediately you're off the material concept of life. When you remember Krishna's instructions or name, fame, form, pastimes, anything to do with Krishna, you're off the bodily concept of life. If you offer prayers to Krishna, many of you, I see you come, and you offer prayers to Krishna. While you are doing that prayer, you are off the bodily concept of life because you are reinstated. It was mentioned in the purport, reinstated. Prabhupada's teaching is that originally we had a position of service to Krishna, which we have forgotten. But now by this process, you're being reinstated. So either by hearing, chanting, praying, we do worship. We did the arti. Now a devotee is getting ready to offer Krishna food right now. She is worshiping Krishna, worshiping, praying, or by befriending Krishna or his devotees. And then ultimately, what is the ultimate? To fully surrender, completely, Atmanivedanam, completely surrender. No reservations. My Lord, I surrender, I give you, like Jesus was saying, God with your whole heart, your whole soul, your whole mind. Atman, the full, complete self. That is culminating in what Lord Chaitanya says is the perfection of life. Love of God. Just as we have love for our partner, we have love for our children, we have love for our family. So love has to be with persons. So Krishna, God, is a person, and he wants to exchange loving, affectionate dealings with all of us. but he does not interfere with your free will. He doesn't force you to love. Forcing someone to love you is not love. That's slavery or rape. That's not. No, has to be voluntary. That's the kind of love Krishna wants to exchange with the living entities. Why do we exist? We exist only on this point, to exchange love with God. That's why we exist. Why does a husband and wife come together to create children? They want to increase their happiness. That's why. They want husband and wife have their happy life, and now they want to share it with their child, share their wealth and happiness. So Krishna has expanded himself as all of us. We are Krishna's expansions. How are we Krishna's expansions? Poquito pequeño. We're the infinitesimal expansion of Krishna. Krishna is the infinite. We are the infinitesimal, tiny. You got it, right. Tiny, 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 tiny. So tiny. How tiny? 1/10,000th the tip of the hair. And why am I puffed up? I'm 1/10,000th the tip of the hair, and I still think I'm somebody. And how many living entities are there? Too many to count. I think I'm special. I'm one of, you can't even count. I'm one of so many. What makes me so special? There is one reason why I'm special. That Krishna has expanded me in the desire, Krishna's desire, that I will exchange a loving, voluntary relationship with him. That's what makes this whole process of devotional service and bhakti so wonderful. That with my free will, I come to the conclusion, Krishna, I want to love and serve you. And when that happens, that makes Krishna very happy. And when Krishna is happy, automatically I'm happy. Why did I join this movement? I joined this movement not for penances and austerities. No. Sometimes my wife wants me to do yoga. And I go, I can't put my body like a pretzel. I can't do that. I joined this movement because I want to be happy. I would not have stayed in this movement if I wasn't happy. Trust me. I wouldn't have lasted 2 days unless following this movement made me happy. But Prabhupada's movement has to make you happy because they have the ultimate happiness. Prasadam. Yes. When all else fails, take prasadam. Everybody loves prasadam. No prasadam? Bye. But why did I join? I joined because that food tasted so good. I jumped up and said, give me more, give me more. And the devotee said, gotta come back tomorrow. So that was it. Okay, sign me up. I joined this movement because little by little by little I see my happiness is increasing. Any kind of material happiness, it comes and goes. That's just the nature of any material happiness. It comes and goes. But the happiness of Krishna consciousness is ever increasing. Little by little, it's increasing, increasing, increasing. I'm chanting this Hare Krishna mantra for 43 years. If I don't chant, I feel like I'm choking. What's wrong? Oh, I got to chant. I have to, every day, I have to read about Krishna's name, fame, form, pastimes. I can't live without hearing about Krishna because it makes me so happy. If I get confused, if I get bewildered, if I get discouraged, eventually I crack open my favorite book, Krishna book. I start to read about Krishna, and I am happy. That's the power of reading about Krishna. I don't want much from life. A little nice food, good wife, and read about Krishna. I'm happy. I will die a contented man because somehow or other I came in contact with Prabhupada, his devotees, and this movement. And that has made all the difference in the world. If I had not come in contact with Prabhupada, his books, his devotees, I'd be a miserable SOB. But somehow or other, I didn't deserve it, but I guess every dog has his day. But when you get your day, take advantage of it. So I leave you. I bless you. If I have any blessings to give, I bless you all that you become attached to Krishna, that you become attached to Krishna's name, that you become attached to Krishna's teachings, that you become attached to Krishna's movement, and you stay faithful to Srila Prabhupada and follow his path. It is called Bhakti Vedanta Marg. Prabhupada has a path. What is Prabhupada offering? He said, I have the clue how to go back home, back to Godhead. So we follow Prabhupada's path. And one day, all of us, just as we're sitting here, all of us, one day, Krishna will be in the middle and we'll all be, how does that sound? Does that sound good? Then everybody chant Hare Krishna. No, come on, the whole thing. All right, Sachi Chinoy, you have the microphone. Looks like you want to have any question? No, it's Sunday. Let's not have questions. Let's end and take prasad. All in favor, say Hari Bol. Class dismissed.